This is the Iron Byron, a machine that can hit at 350 on command and about 400% more accurate than the PGA Tour players. Kind of like me. This is Byron Nelson, the legendary golfer that Johnny number 5 over here tried to copy his swing. This is the teen golf prodigy, Tiger Christensen. We're going to look at his swing, Iron Byron's swing, take a look at how they're very similar, but also at the end of this video, you should understand why you should never fall for modalities, because so many things influence your swing, and we're going to learn about it today so you don't fall for the YouTube rabbit hole of quick fixes, because there's no such thing as a quick fix. There's only working with a golf coach near you. And at any point in time, if you like this video, hit that like, share, subscribe, really helps us grow. And don't forget, Sundays 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, we go live right here where I diagnose your swing cause and effects for free to help educate you. Let's go learn why Johnny number 5 can hit the ball so good. So before we get started on looking at Johnny number 5 swing, what we're going to look at is the average shot dispersion the PGA Tour players versus Johnny number 5. So from 100 yards in, Johnny number 5 can hit the golf ball between 3 to 4 feet dispersion. Now keep in mind, that's left to right. The front to back dispersion is about 18 inches long. So from 100 yards, Johnny number 5 will be left with at most 4 feet left to right and 18 inches front or back. If we go to the PGA Tour players, we can see from within 100 yards, the best in the world hit at 30 feet. So already, Johnny number 5 is way ahead of the game. From 200 yards, Johnny number 5 hits at 8 feet. You can see 200 yards is anywhere from 30 to 40 feet. And Johnny number 5, from 260 out, hits at 12-foot dispersion. If we go to the top over here, we can see that about 250 to 275 is 47 feet. 12, 47. Johnny number 5, and I guarantee you there's going to be a bunch of swing philosophies out there called Johnny 5 Golf. Maybe we should start that here. But enough of that garbage. What we're going to look at is the Iron Byron Johnny number 5. And although it might look like it only has 2 levers, it's actually modeled on a 3-lever swing. So for those that are unfamiliar with levers, think about this. The wrist hinge is a lever, the arm swing is a lever, and the shoulder turn is a lever. You put them all together, you have a 3-lever swing. Some might argue ground force is another lever, and also the bent elbow could be a 4th or 5th lever. Bottom line is, the more levers you have, the more potential power you can deliver, but the more complications arise because you have to time all these levers to hit that golf ball in a split second. So if we take a look at Johnny number 5 swing on the left side, we can see that one lever here is actually counts as 2. We're talking about that lever right at the joint, right where that arrow is. And that combines the shoulder / body rotation with the arm movement in one. And the third lever obviously is the part that's holding the club. Now what you probably can figure out is this is designed on a one plane swing, and I don't care who you are in the world, I've never seen a golfer swing on a true one plane swing from start to finish, which is physically not capable of doing this. So my personal opinion is we are either two plane or a hybrid. Even the so-called one plane swingers, and yes, I've done a diagnosis on Mr. Mo Norman, who is the Bible of one plane. Go watch that swing analysis because it is not one plane. Now, one plane, we can see that this axis point is pretty easy to figure out. It's where that red line goes, and this would represent your spine angle. And we're going to draw in blue where your shoulders would represent themselves through the swing. And if we go back to the top of the swing to impact, we can see that the shoulder tilt never moves. We also see that that spine angle never moves. And this back brace line, which is the blue line as well, also never moves. So if you can figure out a way in your body to have your shoulders stay relative to your spine angle and your ability to stay against that back brace line from the top of the swing to impact, you will be the first student of my Johnny number 5 Golf Academy series, and I'm going to charge $350 down payment and your pink slip. Because in theory, it is so easy to do. And you'll notice that that club shaft never, ever veers off that plane. The only time it does is right about here. You can see that club is kicking up, but that is just the fluttering of the shaft. The hands will never move from that plane line. So it is very simple. But unfortunately, because we have shoulders, we have 2 arms and hands. We have 2 legs. The way our back is built and designed, we cannot, for the life of us, get to be this robot. But let's look at the right side, because the right side is pretty interesting too. If we go from the top of the swing, we can see that there is a huge amount of wrist hinge. Now, again, I don't know very many people that can get this much wrist hinge. At some point, your wrists are stuck at this angle, the way your synovial fluids and all those little bones in your wrist stop it. The only way to do it more is to get some cupping going on. So that is problem number 1. But we take a look at that ball position, and this is where ball position really plays a part, even with Johnny number 5, because if we extend that ball position straight up to the sky, it's favoring its left side. And this is one of the hardest things to do, is to stay in your posture as your hand speed never slows down. The only time it slows down is watch the hand speed slow down there, and that is the release of the hinge. So this is why your hand speed can never move while you are releasing your hinge, because the hand speed has to slow down as that energy transfers from one hinge down to the golf ball. So your hands have to be in a good position to allow them that time to slow as you release. And unfortunately for us, our ball position moves all over the place in our swing because we're swaying. We don't start correctly. Our tilt is not correctly aligned for the ball position relative to your spine angle. So we have all this motion, the lack of rotation, our arm plane changes from low to high. We don't have the hand-eye coordination needed to keep this up, but the most important part is that hand speed relative to your arms. So if you take a look at this, we're talking about this. Every frame we can see they're moving the exact same distance, and right when they strike it, they slow down immensely. And then they start to pick back up. And this is them keeping up with the turn and the tilt. So unless you are extremely gifted and you're able to squeeze yourself in a box about this big, there's no way you can emulate this. So now we got Byron Nelson on the screen and Johnny Nelson on the right side. And we can see that, yes, there are some similarities in terms of the way the arms and hands move. But obviously, look at how much of the body motion Byron Nelson has. He's all over the place, where Johnny Nelson is staying fairly steady. Now let's look at some similarities here. Can we see that wrist hinge at the top of the swing versus Johnny Nelson? We definitely see a lot more wrist hinge on the right side. As we come on through, this is where the whole body will start to leverage and move left. So from this point is where we really see from the hips down versus the hips down on Johnny number 5. Obviously, Johnny number 5 is going to be grounded. Now remember, what happens in the bottom, the upper body will counteract that motion. So we see the drive on the left side. What happens to his spine angle? The spine angle starts to fall back to keep him balanced. But not only that, he's getting the weight distribution from the right side to the left side to help deliver some power with his rotation. Johnny Nelson doesn't need that. Johnny Nelson has a bunch of actuators and servers and is hooked up to the Star Trek Enterprise, and he's able to accelerate through all that technology without needing the lower body to be engaged, which allows, again, the spine angle to remain relative. So that spine angle never changes, where our spine angle on the left side, it goes from upright to leaning back and then back to upright. So this is just the human body. Now, can you imagine that this is one of the best golfers on the planet at the time? They created a robot after him, called it the same name. They don't share much in common. But to the average golfer, they might say, well, this might be the swing I need to emulate. They made a robot after him. But I guarantee you, this robot will beat anybody that's ever walked this face of the earth, including Kim Jong-il. Now, this is the one I really am excited to show you, because this at least puts it in a real-world situation, modern-day equipment, modern-day motions, and we're going to learn about what things that you need to try and look at your swing to help you at least get a little bit closer to Johnny number 5 on the left side of the screen, although trust me, don't try this unless you're going to break your back. But we're going to look at some of the things that we do look for. So at the top of the swing, we're going to go right at the very top and take a look at their positions. Now remember, the arms are going to move up and down, so we're not going to look at the arms. The key thing that I want you to look at as the amateur is how much your body moves in the golf swing, because that is the key. So we're going to draw these lines again. We're going to draw the red for the spine angle, and we can see both are in different spine angles, obviously. We're going to draw the blue for the back brace line, and then lastly, we're going to draw a yellow for the shoulder tilt. And we can see that both Johnny 5 and Tiger on the right side share similar positions. They are both within their posture. Their shoulder tilt is perpendicular to that spine angle, and they're sitting against their back brace line. So this is the key thing I want you to look for. As we come on down into impact, we can see that what is changing between both of them. Obviously, the hands and arms are going to be independent based on your motions, but look at the shoulder tilting. The shoulder tilting is staying relative, the spine angle is staying the same, and the back brace line. So the key thing for you to look at from the top of your swing to down to your transition is, can you stay in your spine angle? If you cannot, it's something in your body, it's something in your ball position, it's some limitation of your rotation, or your setup is incorrect, causing weight distribution issues. As we're coming down into impact, we can see some things have changed here, but the two most important things have remained the same. Back brace line, which is the blue, and spine angle. In fact, his spine angle has shifted slightly left of where it was in the center of the top of the swing, because he is pushing the weight back and clearing the room to allow the shoulder tilt. Look at all that clearance room. If he was not clearing the room, he could not accentuate that tilt. Now that tilt does increase. As we go through impact, we can see the difference. Look at the left side. The shoulder tilt is still perpendicular to that red spine angle on Johnny 5. And on the right side, we can see that although we have the same spine angle, our shoulder tilt, and we're going to draw this in green, has increased. Now, why did it increase? Because we are two plane swingers. We go from the top plane to the lower plane. When you get that lower plane action, you are coming more from the inside to try and swing up. And in order to do that, you need to tilt to help get your hands out in front and swing up on the golf ball. So you have to be set up correctly to allow this to happen, and your body has to be able to do this. So I want you to look at this swing. We're going to play it over and over again. I'm going to keep the lines up there, and I want you to watch this. I want you to go to look for a PJ certified coach and say, I don't want you to get me swinging like Johnny number 5, but I understand what makes a golf swing more replicable, repeatable. So let's work on that. How can I get to stay in my spine angle and my back brace line through impact? And I promise you, you will hit it a little bit better. But don't do it alone, and don't try and copy these swings. They're both very gifted, including Johnny number 5. Hope that helps you. I'll see you next time. Fairways and Greens.